So I'm going to be logging in with my IAM user, like you all know. So tonight we're supposed to be creating two EC2 instances. One will be a Linux instance. Hopefully we have the time to create the Windows instance as well. So I would like us to create both so that at least we would have an understanding of how to create an instance maybe at the end of this class. So I'm logging in with my hand user. What's happening? Shit. Okay. Hope you are taking note of what I'm doing because I'm not hearing anybody's voice. So I'll assume that we are all seeing what I'm doing.
Yeah, we can see
I'm
you
seeing
doing.
what you're. Okay, fine. Thanks for the response. So I want to put in my MFA code. I'm putting in my MFA code. So this is important for the security of your profile. So always use a third-party authentication service. So at least you can add some level of security to your environment console. So the live scenario of this that we are doing tonight, versioning. I'll give an illustration. So like I think I mentioned it in the last class as well. See yourself as a cloud engineer now. That wants to deploy that wants to deploy an application on an EC2 instance. You want to deploy an application on EC2 instance. So now you have two developers that you are working with. Both of them are working on the same application. Please take note of this illustration. The two developers are working on they are working on the same project, and of course, and of course, you are going to be the one to deploy the project at the end of the day, probably the application or anything. So, um, see yourself as if you have collected the agreed and submitted the project. Now, they submitted a particular file for you to deploy, and you went through the file and discovered an anomaly. Of course, you've uploaded the file into S3 bucket already. Probably in the process of deployment, you noticed an error and you notified the developers. So they made changes to their code and um, sent the code to you again to deploy. I want to put the same code that you had already put in um, S3 bucket into the S3 bucket again. Something has changed. What changed? You noticed an error on the initial code. You had told them to realign with what is supposed to um, be the outcome of the code, and they have actually realigned, and you want to bring in the new code into the system. Or probably you've given them the repository to drop the code, just like your S3. Maybe you granted them access to the S3 bucket to drop the code. This S3 bucket could also be in the case of a Git repository. On Git repository as well, you can grant them access such that they can push codes into your Git repository. They can pull from there as well into their own system. So I'll be using Git and S3 interchangeably because they work in the same direction when it comes to versioning. So after importing the new or after pushing the new code into your system, what you are expected to have is to have the old version that you had already pushed and the new version that they are just pushing with the new addition, the new adjustments that they have made to the code. So that's a simple illustration of what such that that's a simple illustration of what versioning is, such that in case you need to revert to the old code, um, you add a reason or you have a reason to return to the old code. You wouldn't need to go and be looking for the developer again to go and request for the same code. Rather, you just go to the previous file and pick it up from there. I believe we're all getting my illustration. So that's the same thing that we're going to be doing tonight when it comes to version. So let me reshare this screen so that you can see everything I want to show you. Because this that I'm sharing presently is limiting. So I'm going to be sharing my entire screen now. Okay, so here's my notepad. All right, versioning. This is what we mean by versioning. So I would type this. This is the first version of my document. So I'm going to save this. So I just want to show you how versioning works. I'm going to show you how versioning works. So let me put this as versioning. Okay. Okay. So I go into my S3, my management console again. Then I click on S3 because I want to create a bucket. I want to create a new bucket. So once it has loaded, I would click on create. Okay, I still have these guys here. I want to stop these guys from running. I want to stop my static websites from running. So I'm gonna empty this. Okay, I think this is my network is not so strong. So let me create a bucket then. I'll delete this one later. So I'll tag this version two. That will be the name of my bucket. So I will retain um my region as regional region. Then I'll block all access or public access because I don't want anybody to have access to this. Look at this. This is your first point of contact when it comes to versioning. You must enable bucket versioning. So I'm going to click on enable versioning. Okay. Well, let me just leave encryption for now. For another class. I don't need versioning. I don't need default encryption. Let me see. Object lock. I'm not locking my object. Okay. So this is what I did. I enabled versioning. So I want to add tag as well. I can add name as versioning. Yeah. So I'm okay with that. Then I go to create my bucket. I don't want us to waste time on this. What happened? Unexpected error. It was the error. The requested name is not available. Can you imagine? Somebody had used the name I picked. So I'll go back to change the name. Okay. So I'll just add new tutu. I'm still going to delete the bucket at the end of the day, so I can give it any name I like. It's taking time to create, and it has to do with my connection. Okay, still loading. Still loading. Still loading.
I'm sorry, sir. You enabled bucket versioning, right? Hello, sir. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, I said you enabled bucket versioning, right?
Yes, please. Yes, I can hear you. Yes, I did.
Thank you, sir.
I think your network is slow.
Yeah, I think it's lagging.
Okay. Hold on. Let me see what I can do. This network is too slow for my liking. How can I be creating buckets? Mm. Last. I'll look for another thing. Okay, so I've created my bucket. It's loading resource. So once my resource is fully loaded, I should have my bucket. Okay, so this is my bucket. So I'm going to open the challenge new 22 that we just created. I'm going to open it up. Well, I think my network should come back to me very soon. I'm thinking other options, internet options. Mm.
I have a question. Can you hear me?
What? Hold on, please. Hold on. Messing up big time. I need to restart this. Why not?
Can you hear me? Yeah, we can hear you. Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you. So I have to start that laptop. It's resting up here.
When you were creating the